This is my Q&A series, Frags and Coffee, where I answer questions submitted by my community. I'm also going to be rambling a bit about channel topics, what games I'm playing, even some unfortunate news that has come out of the gaming industry. Grab your coffee, get a snack. Timestamps are included below, so that way if you want to skip ahead to a particular topic, you can do so. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. It's greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. So before we get into the Q&A part of this video, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who provided some well wishes. This last week was a challenging week for me because we lost our oldest pup, and it's hard. You know, my wife and I, instead of grieving over her loss, which we definitely did for the first few days, we're more so remembering our time with her. All the good times and the joy that we brought her, as well as the love that she gave us unconditionally. Her name is Dax, and we'll always have her in our thoughts and in our hearts. So yeah, thank you so much for those kind comments and for your patience as I work towards just getting back to my schedule of creating content on the channel. So again, thank you. Okay, Q&A time. So this first one comes from Dysfunctor. What MMOs, if any, have you recently enjoyed? Are there any you'd recommend spending time on in 2026? Guild Wars 2. A week or so ago, I decided to dive into it again because Guild Wars 3 was announced and kind of piqued my interest. I had played the game originally when it first launched. I think that was back in, was that 2012, 2014? Let's look it up real quick. August 28th, 2012. So I played it at launch and I leveled up a human thief to like level 52. And I got distracted by another game. Not that it was a bad experience. I was having a lot of fun. At the time, I was more of a game tourist, I think is the term used today. I just liked playing a lot of games, and I wouldn't finish my games. It's still kind of a problem today. But anyhow, in revisiting it, it's a thriving MMO. I think there's a lot of people who shared that same sentiment. They're all hyped about Guild Wars 3, and they were like, let's check out Guild Wars 2. What's this game all about? Everyone's always talking about, wow, Final Fantasy 14. And those are kind of like the big two. Oh, ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, the big three. Guild Wars 2, meanwhile, has been kind of doing its own thing, and it does it really well. So first off, the progression is horizontal. Traditional MMOs are vertical types of progression where all you're doing is trying to level up, get better gear as you level up, get to the end game, and then that's when like the real game begins, right? No, in Guild Wars 2, you are incentivized to explore the world and essentially like clear the map by visiting all the POIs, points of interest, and also engaging with the, I'll call it the quest system. You don't go around like looking for question marks hovering over NPCs. Instead, you just naturally roam from one area to the next, and you'll get a task list, it's your quest log, that tells you like what does that area need to be considered complete. That's your quest, right? So say you wander into like a farming area, right? There's all these farmers and they've got like a worm bug infestation, so you have to go through their crops and like clear them out, right? On top of that, you could also repair their fencing, fix water leaks in their pipes, just like random stuff like that, you know? And as long as you're doing any of these things, you're progressing on that sort of regional quest thingy. So you never have to, it's not like a go kill 10 warthogs, or collect 10 rat pelts, deliver this thing to this person. Like, no, it's these like natural sort of experiences that's quite refreshing, to be honest. On top of that, there's world events, so like random bosses will spawn in whatever map you're in, and players will join in. You don't have to like group up necessarily. You could just participate in that event, and depending on how much you contribute to it, you'll get rewarded. So that helps. You can't just walk in, hit the enemy once, and then leave the event and get like all the loot and stuff. No, you got to stick around and participate. So they have different tiers for how much you participate in that event or boss event, and that's pretty neat. It makes the world feel alive because you see all the players come together at that moment, and everyone's very nice. Like you'll hear people say like GG or like, hey, great job guys. If you get down, like people will pick you up, and or res you. It feels like a team effort, even though you're not like searching for groups. It just kind of happens naturally, organically. And then there's the main story of the game, which I would highly recommend you don't skip. I think World of Warcraft and I'd say less so Final Fantasy XIV, that's a very story-rich MMO experience. But in WoW, most people just click through all the quest dialogue, right? You're not even really concerned about what's going on in Azeroth, except for what's happening at the end game. But in Guild Wars 2, there's a really cool story that progresses you along pretty nicely as you're exploring the world. So don't skip it and listen to the dialogue. The voice acting's pretty good, and I promise you'll enjoy it. Another thing I really like about Guild Wars 2, there's no sub. You can just buy the game. Actually, the base game's free to play now, so you could just play for free right now, the base content, and you don't have to feel like you're losing value for not logging in and utilizing your subscription that you pay for a month, like traditional MMOs. Though, admittedly, this last week I did play a lot. It was, after losing Dax, it was a bit of it became my grieving game. I didn't want to play something that was challenging, hardcore, or dark and foreboding. I needed a beautiful world to escape to. Anyhow, I would highly recommend it. I plan on revisiting the game. The base game's free to play, like I said. If you enjoy it and you want to experience more, there are expansions that you can buy, full price expansions, though I'd say wait, because they go on sale quite regularly through ArenaNet's own website or even Amazon. They usually go half off or really close to half off. So play the base game, see if you like it, and if you do, wait for that sale, and I promise you'll have a good time with that one. So thanks for submitting that question, Dysfunctor. A little coffee break. A little hydration break. Okay, next question. This comes from RoboTorch. I just read that the legendary Bobby Prince, composer for Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, and Commander Keen, and co-composer of Duke Nukem 3D, died on June 16, 2026. I thought you would be interested in honoring his legacy in a future video or Q&A. Yes, I did read about that, and it is unfortunate news. Rest in peace, Bobby Prince. I know him mostly for the work he did with Doom 1 and 2. I did play a lot of Duke Nukem 3D back in the day, and I didn't know that he had co-composed that soundtrack until recently, honestly. And then I am a big fan of Sibby on YouTube, and his closing credits is actually a song that comes from Rise of the Triad, and I believe that one is written by Bobby Prince as well. I might be wrong, but correct me if I am. Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, what an influential songwriter. He wrote so many classic bangers just from like Doom 1 and 2. As we all know, those songs were heavily inspired by heavy metal music of the time. Bands like Metallica, Alice in Chains, Pantera. There are some very striking similarities. I wonder if his years practicing law helped him skirt around copyright infringement laws. But regardless, those songs became so inspirational. In May 2026, the Doom soundtrack was included into the US National Recording Registry. That's awesome. And then with the recent Doom games, Mick Gordon did an amazing job reimagining some of those classic songs, even recreating some of the synth melodies for Doom 2016 and Eternal. One of my favorite songs is the Imps song used in E1M2, and you hear that melody, that intro melody at least. God, I wish Mick would have thrown in some like slap bass into that song in the modern Doom games. Additionally, Finishing Move Incorporated did it in the Dark Ages as well. I just heard a classic melody in the current level that I'm working through right now. So thanks for that submission, RoboTorch. Bobby Prince left his mark in the world, especially for gamers, and inspired many to pursue music composition for games. So yeah, may Bobby Prince rest in peace. So that's all for the Q&A part. If you want to submit your own question for a future episode of Frags and Coffee, leave it down in the comment section of this video with the tag Frags and Coffee. And who knows? Your question may be featured in a future episode. So, what is cooking on the channel? I am working on the next Wimtimage map video. I'm going to be continuing Half-Life. I ran a poll recently and it looks like a lot of you are enjoying the Half-Life series. So, yeah, I'm going to be updating that one a little more regularly. Once I have a couple more, I'll start a playlist together as well, similar to my Quake series, so that way if you wanted to, you can watch all the Half-Life ones all at once from beginning to end. But yeah, after taking last week off, I'm just getting back into the groove of things, so my workflow, all of that, it's coming. You can expect a new Wimtimage video next week. I also ran another poll recently, and based on the results, it seems that a good amount of you would be interested in catching a live stream with me. So that's something I'm looking into. I have a Twitch channel that I used to run, and I definitely would stream there. I also want to stream on YouTube, so I'm looking into like multi-streaming. I've never done that before. I've heard it's easier to do nowadays. I've got some concerns though. I've heard that on YouTube, streaming on YouTube could have a negative impact on your channel. This has to do with like the length of your stream and how many viewers, let alone the number of views after your stream posts as a video. Once you're done, if it's low, then it can have a negative impact on your reach with the algorithm. Anyhow, it's not for you guys to worry, but if you happen to have any knowledge on that, please share it down in the comments with me. I'd love to learn more about it. It's something I'm looking into, so stay tuned. When the day comes, I will create a post and with a future date and time, so that way hopefully we can align our schedules and all hang out together live on stream. Oh, and by the way, apparently it was Quake's 30th anniversary as of June 22nd. Yeah, admittedly, I totally missed that opportunity to make a video for that. It's my favorite id game, and I screwed up. How could I? Though, I have a feeling we may hear something at QuakeCon this year. Either way, I plan on making a Quake video at some point. It's going to be similar to my Doom is Timeless video that I have here on the channel. Quake deserves a video like that. Quake is the real Eternal. I'll work on that title. Okay, and a bit of gaming news. The industry is on fire. The Xbox reset has been terrible, and what's happened to id Software is alarming. I'm not going to go into details. At this point, I feel like I would just be parroting what every other news source and YouTuber news outlet is saying on the topic. But I did want to share some of my personal thoughts as someone who's worked in the industry for 12 years and experienced multiple layoffs myself. So first, we need to show some empathy for those affected by the layoffs. It's a horrible experience to go through, and the current landscape for finding work within the games industry is harder than ever. Let's hope that these people are able to land on their feet again soon. Now, it's all damning, no doubt, but I wouldn't lose hope. Game industry layoffs aren't new. We've seen them happen time and time again. This one with the Xbox is hitting a little bit differently though. They bought out a bunch of companies, made some big bets with Game Pass, and it didn't pay off. Personally, I'm not surprised. I was expecting layoffs to happen at some point, but if anything, I wasn't expecting it at this scale. But where I'm trying to remain hopeful is that this effort is to, I know this is like CEO jargon to make it look good for the shareholders, but like Asha Sharma put out a huge write-up talking about it, and it's in an effort to refocus on the big names and brands of these various studios. In the list of Bethesda games being focused on, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Quake was a part of that list. So here's my hypothetical. In typical Western AAA studios, a game ships, teams slim down, also known as layoffs happen, and work continues on a new project with the high-level employees that are remaining on the team. It's in early development, it's not ready for production, so unfortunately they have to let everyone go because you can't afford to run a studio with a full staff. Now, I did some searching, and the director of engine technology at id Software, Billy Kahn, still happens to be employed at the studio. With that alone, I don't think id Tech is dead. Hugo Martin is still there as well. Having his creative abilities, his creative mind remain at id is huge. Marty Stratton is as well. Love him or not, he's an amazing producer and has been monumental in shipping the latest Doom titles. This was looking on LinkedIn. Now, there's a chance that these guys haven't updated their profiles since the news dropped. But keeping these higher ups is definitely important and worth noticing. So I know if you're on social media, I mean, if here on YouTube as well, if you're like me, you follow a lot of like high profile Doom content creators, Quake creators, and it's very negative, doom and gloom, id Software's dead. But I'm going to say let's wait and see what happens. Let's see how the news shakes up in the coming weeks or even months, because Xbox isn't done with layoffs. Currently, 1,600 people have been let go. They plan on letting go a total of 3,200 before the year ends. But yeah, I guess my little anecdote about like my experience in the industry and seeing what layoffs do to studios and the cycles they go through in regards to game development doesn't really signify red flags to me yet. I think id Software is still alive and kicking. A much smaller team, mind you. We'll see what happens. Let's move on to some more positive stuff, something a little more uplifting, kind of. What am I playing? I was playing Marathon, and I'm taking another break from it. Season 2 had a rough launch. I got really discouraged when the devs made some nerfs to certain aspects of the progression in the game. So for the first 2 weeks, for the hardcore players who blasted through the game, they were able to level up certain aspects of the progression system, therefore maxing out like stats linked to your character. So after the devs nerfed some of this progression, the rest of us are now behind and are leveling up much more slowly and lost an edge over these max leveled players. The loot tables for certain rooms with loot were changed as well. They used to drop great gear, and now they're just reduced to materials. And I think recently they even nerfed like quest progression for some contracts. And yeah, just not cool. So I'm taking a break. I still love the game, but I don't have a desire to grind it out to catch up this season. The start of a new season is exciting because it's supposed to mean everyone's starting on an even footing, yet 2 weeks into the season you nerf progression, and unless if you're some like hardcore gamer who's playing all the time, yeah, there's no way you're going to catch up with them. I think the devs should have just left all of those balance issues alone for the entire season. Let us just all enjoy that faster than planned progression and patch it out the next season. So from Marathon, I jumped over to Guild Wars 2, and yeah, it was just really nice to kick back playing Guild Wars 2. I already talked about it in a prior section of this video. Something I forgot to mention is I was playing with a controller. I recently got a Steam controller, and it plays so well on controller. There's a user-made profile that I downloaded and modified some of the buttons to my own needs, and God, I love playing an MMO with a controller. It feels so good. I've done that with WoW. I've done it with Final Fantasy 14, and yeah, I don't know if I could go back to playing keyboard and mouse for an MMO. I know, travesty coming from a PC gamer, right? But now I'm playing Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations. That's a mouthful. So this is early impressions. 6 hours into the game. I'm playing on Ultra Violence. That's my go-to difficulty for new Doom games. And hands down, this is the best Doom experience the team has put together. I already liked the Dark Ages, but I did recognize some of its flaws. The devs, I think they were listening to the community feedback, and the Chain Spear solves a lot of the issues players had going from Doom Eternal to Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm going to put out a Wimtwig video in the future covering the Chain Spear. Yeah, it's so fun. It's tough also. Like, I'm playing on Ultra Violence, and I have died several times with several different encounters. So I've got a short list here. Let's start with the pros. Once you unlock the different attack types for the Chain Spear, it opens up your combat options. You have so many choices in how you engage with the demons. And I think what I like the most is, unlike Doom Eternal, where you're sort of forced to cycle through your skills, in Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations, you do it however you want. You have more control with how the Doomslayer outputs and does his actions. It's still a parry game, like the Shield, but with more mobility. You have so much time in the air now, doing slam downs, followed by a point blank super shotgun blast, you know, that is extremely gratifying. You can throw the spear as well, which helps disrupt certain enemies if they're doing annoying shit at you from a distance. Speaking of enemies, the new pain elemental, I forget its name, but it's really fun to fight. It took me a few tries to get familiar with its attack patterns and sort of your best approach to fight it, but it feels really good to explode its purple flamey lost souls, and especially before he can launch them at you. And the Archvile is back, and he sucks. Like, I hate it when he shows up, but in a good way. And the combination of demons creates for some crazy combat chess. Like, it really tests out your skills. I think Hugo Martin likes to describe it as like black belt content within Doom. And yeah, this new expansion really puts you to the test. Now, for the cons. My biggest con is there's more buttons. With the combat action, managing weapons, dealing with enemy priorities, all while swapping shield and spear to utilize different tools, it can feel overwhelming. The spear has new button binds, and you know, some of those you can overlap with like the shield's abilities, but there's like 2 more that you have to add to your like button awareness and knowledge. I'm still learning, and you know, 6 hours in, I'm starting to get the hang of it for sure. But yeah, just be prepared for that learning curve. I felt like this was a bit of a problem even with Eternal. I'm performing like finger gymnastics on my keyboard to get my rip and tear engine running and flowing. It's not as bad as Eternal, but yeah, you get the point. So anyhow, that's what I'm playing. What are you guys all playing? Are you playing new games? Are you playing old games? Let me know down in the comment section. Hey, you made it to the end. Give your pets a hug and a kiss. That's a wrap for our 5th episode of Frags and Coffee. If you have a question you'd like featured in a future episode, again, leave it down in the comment section with the tag Frags and Coffee, and who knows, your question may be featured in a future episode. Shout out to my channel members, and a special shout out to Redagas5316. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like a special shout out as well, consider providing a super thanks. Check out my membership tiers for cool perks like early access to my videos, shout outs like the ones I just gave, access to emojis to use in the comments or in future live streams, and even priority replies to your comments. Oh, and I can't forget, you'll get a special role in my Discord server, which I have linked down in the description of this video. Enjoyed the video? Hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more great gaming content. And if you're looking for more, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.